Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, October 1st to order. All those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have any public here for comment for items that don't appear on today's agenda? All right, seeing none. Any additions to the agenda from any of the commissioners? No? All right, if the meeting minutes were fine, we'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meetings held September 24th.
I have a second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the meetings held on September 24th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We have three important proclamations this morning. The first two are somewhat tied together. Proclamation number 50 is proclaiming October as Center County Protects Kids Month in Center County, and we have Stephanie Halderman and possibly some additional people covering that one.
Good morning.
Lots of folks.
Oh, lots of fun.
So I brought the Better Together collab with me today
Oh, great.
because we work as a team to get information out to the community and to help everyone be involved in keeping our children safe. So I want to begin today by thanking all of you on the Board of Commissioners for your support for children and youth and the Better Together Collaborative, and especially today as we recognize October 2024 as Center County Keep Kids Safe Month. This collab plays an important role in the prevention of child abuse and neglect. These contracted providers and community agencies enable a greater number of prevention education services to reach the community. Children and youth, along with the collab, work to reach out to the community to provide education in the hopes of preventing child abuse and neglect. As the agency liaison, I have the opportunity to give presentations on mandated reporting as well as inform the community on how children and youth can help families before it results in a referral for an allegation of abuse or neglect. I can also connect the families with the educational information and preventative services available to no cost to them. From January to August of this year, Children and Youth Services has responded to 818 GPS referrals and 181 CPS reports. It would not be possible to respond to that number of reports without the support of our commissioners and our community partners. We are fortunate as a county agency to have a large number of staff who are able to respond to these reports, not only daily, but throughout the year. I want to thank the rest of the Better Together collaboration for the many preventative services provided to all of Center County and for all that is done to help prevent child abuse and neglect. Child abuse and neglect is preventable, and this month we are working to recognize the ways each person can be involved in keeping the kids in Center County safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Saltzman. I'm the Executive Director of Mount Nittany Health Children's Advocacy Center of Center County. I want to extend a big thank you to all of you for coming out today for this important reminder about ensuring the safety of the children in our community from abuse. The mission of the CAC of Center County is to meet the needs of the children and families in our community by providing a community-based, child-focused center that facilitates a compassionate, multidisciplinary approach to the prevention, identification, intervention, and treatment of child abuse. The CAC continues to serve an average of 300 cases annually who have been referred to them by Children and Youth Services and law enforcement due to reports of alleged abuse and or neglect. The CAC helps coordinate all of the child abuse cases in the central Pennsylvania region with team members from Center County Children and Youth Services, local and state level law enforcement agencies, and the Center County District Attorney's Office. At the CAC, we have nationally trained forensic interviewers who are neutral, fact-finding, and unbiased. They are able to speak with children in a developmentally sensitive and trauma-informed manner with legally sound questions about any possible event or events they may have experienced or witnessed. Also, we have specially trained medical professionals who are experts in completing examinations of children when there are allegations of child abuse. The CAC values our partnership with the Better Together Collaborative, which strengthens our community approach to helping anyone experiencing child abuse, composed of remarkable team members who are behind me, who are involved in this event today. The CAC is very grateful for your continued support, dedication, and recognition of Center County Keeps Kids Safe Month. Thank you all.
Great, thanks, Kimberly.
My name is Jamie, and I work for the YMCA of Center County. We launched the new version of Darkness to Light Stewards of Children in January. This is a 2.5-hour child sexual abuse prevention training program. Our initiative is sponsored by Mount Nittany Health, and it is in partnership with the Center County Youth Service Bureau. In honor of Center County Protects Kids Month, we are offering 3 trainings this month. 2 are virtual and 1 is in person. These trainings are completely free for any adult who lives or works in Center County. And you can check out our website to register or to learn more, and that's ymcaocc.org. Thanks.
Oh, Jamie, if you could mention, I believe we were roughly the second highest percentage of adults in America by county with training for stewards of children.
Yeah, for sure. We've trained almost 6,000 adults, and we're actually up to about 200 adults since we launched the new version in January. So, always trying to be intentional and always trying to, obviously do the most to protect children. And this prevention training program gives adults the tools to do that. Again, we're just asking for a couple of hours of your time. It's the least that we can do to protect the kids in Center County. Yeah.
And I believe an important reason why is sometimes the first couple adults children approach
Yeah.
kind of minimize the situation or don't
Sure.
know who to refer them to or really don't follow up.
Correct, yeah. So this training will give the adults the tools they need, and it'll give them the opportunity to prevent, recognize, and react responsibly to child sexual abuse.
All right, thanks. I just wanted to raise that one up. a
Yeah,
little
thank you so
higher.
much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Kiefer, and I'm with the Center County Youth Service Bureau, or YSB. And thank you for making October Center County Protects Kids Month. At YSB, we strive to protect kids every day with programs for kids from birth up through 22 along with their families. And some of that grassroots prevention programming that we're doing is to protect kids, whether it be being in the schools or out in communities, whether it's having our Monday night, on Monday nights they have active Mondays, and they get kids together from around the community and do positive youth development with them, playing football or, we always have a turkey football game coming up in November with the kids and our staff, which is very much our prevention. We work with the kids in parenting with families in their homes to hopefully prevent them from entering into the child welfare system. And then when the kids do enter the child welfare system, building them up so that they can change the next generation. One of our newest, and we've talked about it here before, is our prevention in combination with Center Safe to protect kids from sexual abuse by offering a program, Project Safe and Smart. And we are working with puppets and in the community in the elementary schools. Hopefully we'll be able to, or applying for a grant and hopefully able to continue this program for kids from kindergarten to 3rd grade. So we focused on 2nd grade before, and offering a parenting program within that as well, which can be done on Zoom or in person, and teaching all those really important needs that parents may have around protecting their kids, things like looking at internet safety, which I know is a hot topic. So those are a little bit about what we're doing, but we want to thank you for making this month a recognition to put light on protecting the kids that are in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Teresa, Jamie, Kimberly, and Stephanie. Very glad you came this morning. Helps highlight the county's partnerships with the various human service agencies and nonprofits throughout the county, but do want to urge citizens that if a child approaches you about something that might sound a little bit like abuse, kids generally don't make that stuff up. And we're talking here about 300 cases at the Children's Access Center at Mount Nittany just last year, right? So unfortunately, Center County is a great place, but things like this do happen here in the county and upwards of 300 times a year. So I'll turn it over to Commissioner Concepcion for additional comments.
Yeah, thanks for being here to highlight the work that your collaborative is able to do together. And by being able to team together with people with different expertise in different areas, building this multidisciplinary approach, I think is really good for our community. And thinking about across the spectrum of prevention to response and postvention with families when there's these kind of circumstances that are occurring. Certainly, I think the Mount Nittany Health Children's Advocacy Center is just like, in some ways, kind of a unique asset that our community has that really is able to provide a safe space for kids who are going through some of the worst times. And all of you are doing work, we know, with families when they're at their most vulnerable, and kids when they're going through sometimes really significant trauma. And we know that can just be a huge strain on all of you as well, and the sacrifices that you make in your lives to do this work, I think needs to be recognized as well. So, thank you.
Great points, Commissioner Concepcion. Commissioner Dershowitz.
Well, first, I have to say, this is quite the august group. I mean, you have the YMCA, YSB, you have Mount Nittany Medical Center, and you have our folks, of course, that we're very, very proud of, and we kind of see on a day-to-day basis some of the challenges that you all face, and we're unfortunately told of about a few of them over the course of the year. And although I do have to say, you all do amazing work, but I'd really like to highlight the Advocacy Center, because I think that is something, it may not be unique to Center County, but it certainly is an asset not only to our county, but literally regionally. And I'm sure most folks out there don't even know what that is. And what it is essentially a one-stop shop for the investigation of child crimes and making sure that whether it's the district attorney's office or local law enforcement or CYS, all have kind of eyes on in one situation where the child doesn't have to be re-traumatized by bringing this up over and over. And having been there a few times, in an environment that is very, very comfortable for them, considering the circumstance. And you guys do a fantastic job, and your team is here with us today, including the intern, who very excited to meet as well. So I hope you're learning a lot, because this is a unique program and an opportunity for you to pick up some pretty good tips that otherwise you might never see the inside baseball of how you protect children like this. And very, very proud of all of you and the work that we've done here in Center County to keep kids safe and continue to make a difference in their lives, because as we all know, this is probably one of the most vulnerable units of our society, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that they grow up in the best environment that they can. So thank you all for everything you do, and thanks for coming in this morning. So.
Also, great comment, Steve. Do we have any questions from the press?
Stephanie, it's a good question. Could you talk, please? Sure. You referenced GPS, or the type of reports you referenced?
Yeah, the GPS and the CPS reports. The GPS reports are general neglect and concerns. The CPS reports are called child protective reports, and they are the reports that rise to the level. It's an abuse investigation. So Childline determines which one those are classified, and then they come to whichever county the incident happens in. So it's determined outside of us, and then we investigate per which type of report comes to us.
So when a report is made, is mandated, then some type of investigation, some type of follow-up is done?
Correct. So mandated reporter and even non-mandated reporters can make reports to Center County Children and Youth, or they can make them to Childline two different ways, either through the 1-800 number or through the online portal. And then Childline is our call center and our collection, and then it disperses it to whatever jurisdiction needs to investigate it. You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary. Excuse me, any other questions from the press? All right, seeing none, I think we could take a motion.
All right. I will move to adopt Proclamation 50 of 2024, proclaiming October 2024 Center County Protects Kids Month in Center County.
I would gladly second that.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt Proclamation number 50 of 2024, proclaiming October as Center County Protects Kids Month. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Come on up and we'll present the proclamation. Coming over a little bit, as always, we'll try to center it on, center it on health. Have the two of you hold it? Yeah. Are we centered, JJ?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks again for coming. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Would you need more than one copy of that by chance?
Yeah,
Sure.
all right.
Yeah, that would be
You
awesome.
can create more than
Take
one
a note on
copy.
that.
Thank you.
How
There
many
you go,
copies
Eric.
do you need?
Three more.
Like three?
Yeah, that's 1/4.
All right, now we'll move on to proclamation. Thank you, by the way, everyone, for coming. We'll move on to proclamation number 51, proclaiming October 24th as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And unfortunately, there are some connections between our first and second proclamations. And we'd like to invite Jennifer up to the podium. And now if you had anybody else come with you, or?
It's just
Okay.
me today. But we work together a lot,
Yes.
so we all share the same crew. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Pensick. I am the Executive Director of CenterSafe, which provides a variety of services to victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking across all of Center County. So I just want to thank you all so much for recognizing October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. CenterSafe and many of our community partners who are here today are joining together to spread education and prevention efforts across the region and remind the community that everyone knows someone impacted by domestic violence. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men who are aged 18 and older in the U.S. have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And intimate partner violence alone affects more than 12 million people every year. And as we know, domestic violence is not just physical abuse. It's everything from degrading remarks and cruel jokes to threatening looks, constant monitoring, economic exploitation, sexual abuse, and even homicide. Unchecked domestic violence almost always increases in frequency and severity. And again, domestic violence can come in many forms, including physical abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and more. People often struggle with the fact that a victim may not leave their abuser or leave right away. We may like to think that we know exactly what we would do in these situations and how this would never affect us. But quite frankly, we don't get to say that unless we are in the exact situation that a victim may be in. It may seem like a simple decision to those outside of a relationship, but victims of abuse often face multiple barriers to leaving, including financial dependence on the person who is hurting them, worry over the abuser getting in trouble, fear about other friends, colleagues, peers finding out, a desire to keep a family or a unit together, hope that the abuse will stop, pressure from family, denial, shame, and lack in access of resources. Abusers often escalate their violence to coerce a victim into reconciliation or to retaliate for the victim's rejection or abandonment of the abuser. Living with an abuser is highly dangerous because the violence usually escalates and becomes more frequent over time. However, if a victim is planning to leave, safety planning is extremely important, and advocates from CenterSafe can work directly with victims through our hotline and through our different assorted services. In 2023 alone, CenterSafe supported more than 900 clients navigating domestic violence. That is in 1 year and in 1 county. It is on all of us to decide how we plan to support survivors, honor those lost to domestic violence, and work together to eliminate this pervasive form of abuse. I know this crime can seem so overwhelming and big and terrifying, which it is, but if we choose each day to spread awareness, stand up for others, and acknowledge the normalization of this behavior, we absolutely can and will make a difference. People can visit www.centersafe.org/DVAM for the full list of events and initiatives we have going on this month. And people can also call our 24/7 confidential and free hotline toll-free at 877-234-5050. We're always here to help and want to reassure anyone impacted by domestic violence that you are not alone and this is not your fault. For those wondering how to help, it starts with listening. It's very simple. Ask someone what you can do to help them and listen to what they're actually telling you. love them, listen to them, and lift them up through connections to resources like Center Safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's maybe a coincidence. I just received your newsletter in my mail
Oh,
yesterday.
good. I'm so glad.
So I was going to use the term hundreds and hundreds, but you
Yeah.
had the exact figure. Obviously, this is a very serious issue affecting, from the sounds of it, at least in the ballpark of 900
At
families in
least,
Center County
yeah.
just last year, because those are the people who came forward. It
Exactly.
doesn't-
Those are the reported cases.
Those are the reported cases. That doesn't count the, probably multiple times that, cases where, as you say, people are kind of trapped. They don't know where to access services. They're afraid to access services. I do know that I've had more than a handful of friends utilize your services in the last few years.
Yeah.
And we talk about how Center County government works with 18,000 people over the course of a year, and our affiliated human services nonprofits work with about 24,000. We've got 900 just in your organization, and you're obviously only working directly currently with a fraction of the people involved in those circumstances.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Concepcion.
Yeah, thank you for the work you do. I think, it's both in raising awareness and educating people about what their opportunities are in order to come forward and get a place that's a safe harbor is part of, I know that's part of what you do, as well as providing that safe harbor so that people are aware of what safety measures are out there that they can take advantage of in the community. And hearing 900 people per year is just heartbreaking. Like, every one of those, representing a family that's, in crisis and torn apart. So, it's really hard. It's a hard topic to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just important, I think, having events like Domestic Violence Awareness Month, because it is such a difficult topic to talk about, that we're raising awareness that there are resources available, and that Center County government and Center Safe and local police departments as well are there as a resource for people who are experiencing these circumstances, and that it really requires community effort from multiple different resources to be able to help people through these situations. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion. Also put in a plug for the district attorney with the stop grant. Commissioner Dershowitz, comments and questions?
Well, we've worked with the, Center Safe and the Women's Resource Center in a previous life. They've done some pretty amazing things of keeping our folks safe, and this is umbilically tied. I mean, because
Absolutely.
whenever you have domestic violence with two consenting spouses or whatever, or in a relationship, they often have children, and they require a lot of attention too. So it's great that we have these resources. It's great that we provide that safe harbor for them to find help. But mostly, I think it's a cultural awareness that our community doesn't tolerate this, and that we have the resources and the mindset that we're going to make sure that people are kept safe. And if you are in a situation where you are being threatened, that you are there. And not only law enforcement and our district attorney's office, but the folks within CYS. I mean, it's one big group of folks that all come together throughout the community and make good things happen. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. And just to add something too, I mean, oftentimes we think about kind of married couples or, older couples who have kids, and I mean, I'm sure all of our agencies will say the same thing. We also have 13 and 14-year-olds who are in really awful relationships. So it's not always just domestic violence. It could also be dating violence and dating abuse, and clients of all ages and backgrounds, college students, and everyone kind of in between. So it's definitely an issue that's affecting a lot of people out there.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
I
you.
do notice we have a nice flyer for Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes, I always come with
I don't know if the
gifts.
press wants to grab a couple of copies on the way out. If need be, you can take mine. Any questions from the press on this topic?
Center Safe have any other shelters in Center County? I ask because sometimes you hear from abuse victims in rural areas saying they're reluctant to file a report. They don't feel like they have someplace to go.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of barriers for people who are in rural communities, especially when you talk about access to transportation and even just can I even utilize resources? So Center Safe does support people in all corners of the county, and we offer both on-site and off-site shelter. So all someone has to do, if they're able to, is just connect with us, and we can work with them one-on-one, especially around addressing any barriers that they might have, whether it's transportation, whether it's I'm down in Phillipsburg. We're not going to let those types of barriers get in the way of them being able to get help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great question, very interesting questions on this particular topic. Seeing none, looks like we could take a motion.
Then I'll move to adopt Proclamation 51 of 2024, proclaiming October 2024 Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Center County.
Second that.
We have motion a second. All those in favor of approving proclamation number 51, proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Center County, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Come on up, Jennifer, and we'll present the proclamation.
Absolutely.
Center on Bellefonte.
Oh, yes, there we go.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edward. All right, moving on to, thanks again for coming, and moving on to proclamation number 52. Thank goodness, something a little bit lighter, but also quite important. We have Greg Scott here, the Executive Director of the CBICC, to acknowledge the future economic value of the Center County Economic Development Plan.
Great. Well, good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Higgins, and good morning, Commissioner Concepcion and Commissioner Dersham. Thank you for the opportunity to present and discuss the Center County's Economic Development Strategic Plan with you this morning. As you know, the CBICC has been working with the county, the community, and our many partners behind the scenes on this for nearly a year. And we're excited to have completed the plan and are now working to gain support and endorsements from various county entities before unveiling the plan to the county community at large. I appreciate your consideration today for a proclamation acknowledging this plan and its significance to the county and our communities. In 2023, CBICC began collaborating with leaders and organizations from across Center County to develop a comprehensive economic development strategic plan. Center County has always been a region with a reputation for a strong community connection and pride, high quality of life, and innovation coming out of Penn State University. Despite these positive attributes, Center County has yet to achieve its full economic potential. We came to realize that a detailed, collaborative plan would help our region overcome headwinds realized during the pandemic and propel us towards economic stability, resilience, and success. It was at this time we convened the Economic Development Council, consisting of key area stakeholders and community members in a variety of industries. We also engaged the economic development consulting firm Camoin Associates to facilitate the information gathering process. Our guiding principles for the plan were simple: to create a common and coordinated vision for smart economic growth in Center County, to foster synergy amongst the many organizations and partners in the region, to be clear and strategic and create a plan that is actionable, accountable, and sustainable, and to energize the entire community, inspiring us to work together toward achieving our common goals. In the months that followed, we collected and analyzed community data and met with over 150 employers, entrepreneurs, business owners, and community members who added their experience and insight to the process. We wanted to engage as many perspectives as possible and consider all feedback to develop a diverse and collaborative plan that resonates with our entire community. The final plan identifies 4 areas of strategic focus: business retention and expansion, targeted and emerging industries, workforce and education, and the built and natural environment. These areas further expanded into goals and actions that will help Center County move the needle on economic development in the years ahead. Our vision is that Center County community will be responsible for the execution of the plan's action items, while CBICC and the Economic Development Council will serve as facilitators, connectors, and leaders responsible for monitoring the plan's progress and keeping it moving forward. In closing, I want to thank the commissioners for all your support and commitment to economic development and smart growth in our region. I'm excited that we have forged a strong partnership, and I'm looking forward to Commissioner Higgins' remarks at the public unveiling of the plan next week on October the 9th at our Voice of Business Luncheon. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great, well, thank you very much for coming, Greg, and Todd as well. You've been doing some great work. Would like to highlight your unveiling of the Economic Development Plan. Would recommend that the press be there. There are some surprising twists and not obvious recommendations in the plan. And also anybody interested from the public, I think you have a few seats left.
We do,
but
we do.
You've had a
We're
lot of
going
interest
fast,
in
but
this
it's
one.
filling up.
Yes, very good. And, for those of you at home, State College just keeps chugging along, but the commissioners have spent the last 9 years or so becoming increasingly involved in the downtown Bellefonte area. And thanks to the primarily female entrepreneurs in downtown Bellefonte, we've seen quite the renaissance there. And over the past 3 or 4 years, the commissioners have now taken a few extra resources and have been working with downtown Phillipsburg. And we have also, I think their catchphrase is, "We love Phillipsburg." And we've seen some green shoots there. We've seen some things starting to turn in Phillipsburg, a little bit more mixed in terms of the percentage of male to female entrepreneurs. But government does have a role in assisting local economies for growing and developing between the county, the state, the federal, and the municipal. And we very much appreciate our partnership with the CBICC in moving our economy forward and diversifying it. It's fabulous to have one of the largest universities on the planet here within the county, but obviously it'd be great if we had some other legs on our economic stool.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Concepcion.
Yeah, thanks for being here to share this with us. I think one of the things that I was most impressed with about looking at the outline of the plan as it is so far is how hyper-local it is, that it's very specifically targeted at Center County and the strengths and weaknesses that you're able to identify here. It's really, even though you brought in a consultant from outside the county, this is not a cut and paste kind of economic development plan. It's really taken some specific, careful analysis of what are opportunities that we have for expansion based on data about the county, about jobs that are available, and about particularly some of the areas of potential growth that maybe some of the easiest, I wouldn't say easiest, some of the probably most profitable or most unique to Center County in terms of things that we can offer that are different than other places. And then I think, this focus on the built environment as well, and the natural environment, you're really thinking about what's the quality of life for people who live here and how this plan can support that, as well as business growth. So, good job.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And one of our guiding principles I didn't talk about, but when we think about all of the goals and actions, we looked at them through the lens of, are they economically and environmentally sustainable? And do we promote diversity and inclusion in the business diversity that we promote? So that was a lens that we looked through in all of these goals and actions, and it will continue to be as we look to execute the plan.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Concepcion. Commissioner Dershowitz.
No, I'm really glad that business retention is one of the prime focuses, because, getting businesses is very difficult. Having businesses lured away or businesses that aren't successful that's just tragic, and everything we can do to help in that regard would be fantastic. Look forward to seeing the unveiling of this next week. So
Great, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Greg and Todd. We're definitely looking forward to utilizing the Center County Economic Development Plan as a roadmap for future efforts to, as Commissioner Dershowitz says, retain our successful businesses, and as Commissioner Concepcion was talking about, improving the quality of life in the county, in part through helping new companies locate here and grow.
Great, thank
Any
you.
questions from the press? No? All right. Unless Todd wants to add anything? No, you're good? All right. I think we could take a motion.
Then I will move to adopt Proclamation 52 of 2024, acknowledging the future economic value of the Center County Economic Development Plan in Center County.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt proclamation number 52, acknowledging the future economic value of the Center County Economic Development Plan in Center County. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Well, come on up, you two, and we can have JJ send you a photo.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Work.
How you doing, sir?
Center on your business there.
There you go.
Keep it this way, I think, right, JJ? Is this what you need?
That's
All right.
great, that's great.
Thanks, JJ. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Ty.
Very soon.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Steve.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
in.
Yes.
Keep up the good work.
Exactly. All right, and talking about county government working to improve the quality of life in Center County, we have a resolution covering the filing of a Keystone Recreation Park and Conservation grant application for the Center County Library and Historical Museum. And Natalie and Denise, perfect, yes, come up here, that's what I was about to suggest.
Have a seat.
Will give us some background on that.
Well, I want to first of all thank the commissioners for being willing to be one of our partners in getting this grant shepherded through. The expansion of the Center Hall Area Branch Library has been in the planning stages for probably close to a decade. And so we're excited to be at this stage of the project and getting ready to actually see it start to move a little bit forward. Our Board of Trustees did a needs assessment in 2021, and we hired a gentleman named James Keller out of Philadelphia who has done this kind of work. And what we really wanted to do with the needs assessment is just determine whether there really was a need to expand the Center Hall branch. We knew we had a lot of anecdotal information about how crowded it was, how packed the shelves were, how there wasn't space for doing any kind of literacy programming or adult education. And so the needs assessment really reaffirmed that there was a need and that that particular area of the county was growing, and that building in addition to that branch would certainly see us through the next several decades. So after we did that, we kind of figured out what some next steps were going to be, and we decided that we really needed to have some sort of design of what the new branch could possibly look like. So again, we worked with Mr. Keller's team last year over the holidays and figured out exactly how much space we would need in order to spread out the existing book collection, give us some separate space for community meeting rooms, for some library programming rooms, and account for a little bit of modest growth in that area. So with that design that the board approved, we then started to feel a little bit more excited, a little bit more positive about the outcome of the project. We have a capital campaign committee formed that will help do some community-based fundraising when we're ready to do that, but we're not really ready to do that yet. So this grant application is part of our quiet phase of fundraising. The Keystone Grant Program is administered through the Office of Commonwealth Libraries and the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and it's funded with tax money from real estate taxes that goes to libraries and other parks and recreation kinds of capital improvement programs. We're going for the maximum amount of the grant, which is $750,000, and it is a 50-50 match program. So we will be committing our $750,000 to the project as well. The grant application is due October 17th, so we are down to the wire. But one of the requirements of the grant was that we had to have a municipal partner. The money did not go to the actual library, it went to a municipal partner. And we had initially approached the Center Hall Borough Council to be our municipal partner, given that the branch was located in Center Hall. And after some pretty heartfelt discussions, they really declined because they felt they didn't have the staff or the expertise to really shepherd the project through. And so we were incredibly grateful that the county stepped up to the plate to help us get this step done. So thank you.
Great, thank you for covering that, Denise, and we definitely want to thank Natalie Corman.
Yes.
One of our most skilled administrators, who's been with the county for quite a while now, for stepping up and helping handle some of our more difficult grant applications. And the county is working with a grant consultant to give us some of the finer points for these
It is a
particular
process.
grants. It's definitely a process, but I suspect that if you had a $750,000 grant, that would move the project forward quite substantially.
Yes.
And,
We are currently, our board just met, our property committee just met on Monday. No, this is Monday. Last Monday.
All right.
No, last Thursday.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how this went, but anyway, we issued a request for proposals for architectural services to take our design concept and start building specifications and bid documents for that. We received 5 really good proposal submissions from local county architectural services firms, and we had our initial meeting last week to review those and try and winnow it down
Yes.
to 1 or 2 to then follow up with. But our board will meet again October, the fourth Thursday in October, and that's when we'll make the decision about the architectural drawings. And I can also say that the design work that Mr. Keller did last year, the money that we spent on that project will count toward part of our 50/50 match. So we're getting close.
All right, and I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add?
Just the resolution, as many of our state funders do, is just an acknowledgement of the relationship that we have in terms of being the grantee. And we'll talk about the MOU next, but the resolution just simply outlines the responsibilities of the grantee, in particular for the Keystone funding that we need approval for.
Right, well, libraries are, as you mentioned, are keystones of the community. They've evolved over the last decade to offer many more services, the community rooms, meeting space, more computer support, people looking for jobs or looking to start businesses, a lot more services at your local library for those types of things. Yeah. Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, I'm really glad that we're able to help support this project. I think, for the entire eastern half of Center County, this is probably the most convenient library, so.
It is, and the arm of our community relationships, we work very closely with an organization called the Partnership for Penns Valley Library Services, which was
Okay.
recently rebranded. Their former name was the Center Hall Area Branch Library Association, and in recognition of being more inclusive of the entire Penns Valley region, they changed their name, but they are also very committed to this project, and we'll be meeting with them this evening at their meeting to talk about their financial commitment towards the
Wonderful.
project.
Oh,
So
good.
fingers
Great.
crossed that
Yeah.
it moves forward.
All right, Commissioner Dershowitz?
Just happy to support the entire library system, but particularly that in Penns Valley. So hopefully you'll be successful in this, and it'll have a great outcome. So
I hope so. Yeah, thank you.
good work.
Wonderful. Any questions from the press at this point? All right, looks like we could take a motion then.
Then I'll move to adopt Resolution 12 of 2024.
I will second that.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 12 of 2024. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to contracts, and it looks like we're going to need a memorandum of understanding, and I believe Natalie will cover that too.
Yeah, so as we explore the opportunities to partner with agencies such as the library, the county worked to develop an MOU in regards to, as us being the grantee, is pass-through. And so the MOU just really outlines the responsibilities that we have as the grantee in terms of the quarterly reporting, the application process. John, as our administrator, has to be part of that with our resolutions. And so the MOU outlines that, and then it outlines the responsibility then as the subrecipient that the library will have in terms of, if we are awarded this grant, all the documentation they will need to do, the reporting that we have to do, and it does it. And so we outlined it for a 2-year period. with the hope that we are successful with this grant. But we wanted to kind of have that MOU in place, both for the board to have that, our board and their board as well, doing that.
Thank you for covering that background, Natalie. As Denise was mentioning, there is a fair bit of work and resources required, even from the sponsoring entity for a grant of this size. And while we obviously appreciate the dynamic mayor of Center Hall and the borough council and borough staff, it's just too much for them.
Yeah,
to
they don't
handle.
have full-time people
Yeah.
that can really focus on working through shepherding the application. And the application actually has to be initiated by the municipal partner, although, as the MOU states,
Yeah.
the library will be doing the bulk of the
Yes.
narrative and the budget work, but still, the municipal partner plays a key role in the process.
Great. Thanks for the background there. Commissioner Concepcion, anything?
Yeah, sounds good.
Commissioner Dershowitz? All right.
Then I'll move to add the memorandum of understanding with the Center County Library and Museum to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to add the memorandum of understanding with the Center County Library and Museum to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Denise.
Thank you,
Thanks,
and thank
Natalie.
you, Natalie, for working with us to pull that
Yes.
together.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
and now.
think the
Yes.
award will be announced sometime in December, so.
Oh, that's quite quick.
Yes,
Cross our
they
fingers,
don't
but
give
that's
you much of a
fast.
turnaround time.
Wow,
so-
well, they don't give themselves much of a turnaround time either. No.
Yeah,
thank you.
Wow. You're welcome. All right, now we'll move on to elections. We were sued 17 times in 2020, and John will now cover the latest lawsuit.
Good morning, Commissioners. Before you for consideration is an agreement with the law offices of Babs Callant, Clemens, and Zomnier to provide the county with joint representation with 11 other counties relative to a matter relative to the decision out of the Commonwealth Court related to the use of shore codes. That was directed from the Secretary of the Commonwealth. This is a King's Bench case, which means that basically when this lawsuit went out, they named the Secretary as well as all counties within the Commonwealth. And 12 of those counties have joined to help have a little bit more impact in the case,
Yeah.
as well as share the legal costs.
Yeah.
And that's what's before you, is that agreement with the law office of Babs Callan for that representation and litigation.
Very much appreciate the other 11 counties joining with us. Lawyers aren't cheap, and it's nice if you could split the cost 12 ways. Commissioner Concepcion, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just, it's worth noting as, litigation continues to affect how we hash out the use of mail-in ballots and everything that's, has been new to the world of elections since 2020. There's a cost to this, and when lawsuits are filed and counties are named, then counties have to spend money defending themselves, and that just comes as a cost to the taxpayers.
Commissioner Dershowitz, anything you'd like to add? No. Any questions from the press on that one?
Is the county still, let's back up to 2020, is the county still involved in any lawsuits from the previous election cycle?
To the best of my knowledge, the last one of those settled, maybe it was last year. I think that's all finally done, but it was upwards of 3 years before all the dust settled.
Besides this one, is the county involved in any suits related to this election cycle, besides this one?
There's another one that's just another King's Bench
Yeah.
that just came in, so we're just digging into that one now. So when it comes to elections, it seems that the approach now is to go through the King's Bench process where all counties are named as a broad sweep to address any activity that may be occurring anywhere in the Commonwealth.
Shared cost, you mentioned, is it taxpayers, is some insurance pay for, I mean, the bottom line is still
There's no
taxpayers.
insurance for this,
Okay.
Gary. This is your local property taxes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions from the press? No? All right. Unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion.
Okay, I'll move to approve the agreement with Babst, Callen, Clements, and Zomnier.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Babst, Callen, Clements, and Zomnier. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, John. And now Jonathan has multiple items for us between capital projects and facilities management.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm asking for your consideration for approval of a contract with Air Balancing Engineers to provide commissioning services for all HVAC, electrical, and plumbing equipment at the newly renovated Human Services facility. This contract totals $48,475 and is in response to an RFP that our construction management company had put out to bid for us.
Great, thanks, Jonathan. As I remember, we knew we were going to have to do this, but we really didn't have a fix on the cost. So we had set aside a contingency fund for the entire project at Center Crest, and this is going to be taken out of that contingency fund.
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Thank you.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
Good to go.
All right.
I'll move to add the contract with Air Balancing Engineers to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Air Balancing Engineers, Inc. to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries, and now you've got another capital project for us.
I'm also asking for your consideration and approval of a proposal with MG Architects for additional design services for lease space 3 at the Human Services facility. This would add additional office spaces as well as a storage room in that facility.
Great,
This
thanks.
is
Yeah.
relative to CYS.
Correct.
And would be fully funded by state funding.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Well, I know we had contingency funds in the budget even for this, but good to see that the state's going to cover this portion of it.
Yeah, so we've designed this particular additional space based on the budget that we were given by the state. So design, construction, permitting, everything will be covered by the
Okay.
state funding.
Great. Well, thanks, John and Jonathan. Any questions on the second one, Commissioner Concepcion?
Sounds good.
Steve, anything?
Good, thank you.
All right.
Then I'll move to approve the proposal with MG Architects.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposal with MG Architects. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And now Jonathan has a third item for us under facilities management.
Lastly, I'm asking for your consideration for a contract renewal with Clemmer Fire Protection to provide backflow testing at all of our county-owned facilities, as well as quarterly fire protection inspections, dry system inspections, and a fire pump inspection at the correctional facility. The correctional facilities amount would total $17,076, and facilities would cover the remaining for a contract total of $18,546. And that would run from January 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2027.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan. Obviously, you need to do this for the protection of our citizens and our employees.
Correct.
Commissioner Concepcion?
No, sounds good.
Commissioner Dershowitz?
I'll move to add the contract with Clemmer Fire Protection to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract with Clemmer Fire Protection to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jonathan. And now we have Julia for our remaining contract for human services.
Good morning. I'm asking you to consider the approval of the fiscal year 23-24 final report for the state food purchase program. Contract total is $102,132.50. Essentially, this is a pass-through. This money passes through the county, goes to the local lead agency, who then distributes this money to all of the food pantries for purchase of food.
All right, and we do appreciate the state food purchase program, but obviously, this is a small fraction of what the food pantries need to continue to provide services. So we do urge Center County citizens to continue being very generous to your local food pantries.
Absolutely.
Donations of food, but also donations of cash for items that are needed that aren't covered under these programs.
Correct.
Great, thank you. Linda, anything?
No, thank you.
Steve, anything? Linda?
Good, thank you.
All right.
I will move to approve the fiscal year 23-24 final report to the state food purchase program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the fiscal year 23-24 final report for the State Food Purchase Program. All those in favor do so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Very short consent agenda today. Thanks, Julia.
Oh, sorry. I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll move on now to the check run.
Okay, the check from the check run that I'd like to recognize today is to Election Systems and Software. This is the company that supplies our voting equipment here in Center County, and they're also helping with training poll workers on 15th, 16th, and 17th of October. So we're still looking for poll workers. If you're interested in being a poll worker, you can reach out to our elections department or go to vote.pa.gov. And with that, I will move to approve the check run dated September 27th, 2024.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated September 27th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there an administrator's report today, John?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right. And under reports and announcements, we have the voter registration report, and Commissioner Concepcion has an update for us.
I do. So our voter registration report this week reflects a total number of 104,745 voters registered in Center County. That is up 930 from last week's report. Of those, 43,504 are Democratic voters. Green Party voters are 162. Libertarian, 608. No affiliation, 15,199, and Republican voters comprise 42,305 registered voters. All of the other small parties come up to 2,967, bringing us to that total number of 104,745. Our party of the week this week is the Pirate Party. They have only
yes.
one registered voter
Steve's
in
favorite.
Center County. So,
I'm assuming they hang out in Howard.
right? So, our precinct of the week is 72, Rush Township North. There are 1,198 registered voters at precinct 72. At the last election in April, they had a voter turnout of 30%. They vote at the Rush Township Supervisors Building at 150 North Richard Street in Phillipsburg, and we are grateful to the Rush Township Supervisors for the use of their building. So,
Great.
that's it.
Thanks, Amber. Any questions at this point, or do you want to save them for the end?
Oh, we'll save it.
Right at the end? Okay. So our other related announcements, October 21st is the last day to register to vote before the November 5th election. The cutoff time at the elections office is 5 p.m. And October 29th is the last day to apply for a mail-in or civilian mail-in or civilian absentee ballot for the November 5th election. And again, the deadline, at least at the elections office, would be 5 p.m. Do we have any executive sessions to report or hold, John?
No executive sessions to report or hold.
All right, and moving on to the remainder of our public meeting schedule. On Thursday, we have a combined Board of Commissioners and Salary Board meeting at 10. We have a Board of Commissioners budget work session at 1. Next week, Tuesday, we have a Board of Commissioners meeting at 10, followed by a work session at 11. And then on Thursday, October 10th, we have a Board of Elections meeting at 1 p.m. And we'll take questions from the press.
Knowing what happened in 2020 with the lawsuits related to elections and voting, did the county this year budget possible extra money for legal expenses, or is that something you approach case by case?
I believe it's a combination of contingency funding, and did we put a little extra in the budget, John?
Yes, we did. We had extra money budgeted for 2024, and there's even a little in proposing some for 2025 as well.
Great question. Anything else? No? All right. Unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we'll take a motion to adjourn at 10:59.
I will move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn at 10:59. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.